welcome to the video. My name's Josh, and today I'm going out on a bit of an exploration trip to do a very unofficial recon of the RADL Gravel, the Radelaide Gravel event course. The event being brought to Adelaide by Valtteri and Tiffany. Of course, the RADL Gravel, same group that do the steamboat and the Finland gravel race across the world. Well, yeah, two different places across the world. They recently, literally 2 days ago, released the information, or they announced, sorry, I should say, they announced that they were going to be doing a gravel race here in Adelaide during the Tour Down Under that happens in January. So it'll be next year, 2024. I saw that, so stoked, so stoked. And I thought, hey, this week, on my day off, what better, is there anything better to do other than go out and check out this proposed gravel course? Because I actually posted the course up. Now this is a proposed course, so it might not be the official course, of course. Too much course. But here we are in the Kaipo forest. Yeah, just started. I am literally in the first couple of kilometers. I made the call to start this ride a little bit further into the actual proposed trail, only because I'm a little bit short on time today. I don't feel like doing the full 130 Ks by myself. And the first bit starts out near the McLaren Vale wineries, and the first section is kind of like a bit of a road with some gravel sections, bit of a lead in. But once you kind of do this initial 15K lead in, then you get onto the, it's a bit rough, you get onto the proper gravel loop that then goes around and then brings you back to that lead in bit, which is how you finish the race off, or finish the ride off as well. So started where that loop kind of, almost where the loop begins. Fairly familiar grounds, Kaipo Forest for myself. Also, to make things even more interesting, debut ride of my new bike. First time out on the Crux, Specialized Crux. Brought all the parts across, well, most of the parts across from my previous gravel bike. Made some changes, gone for the SRAM Explore 1x setup. Gone with an 11 to 44 in the back. Another turn here. Garmin's got me covered. Yeah, so, you know, new trail, no idea where I'm going. New bike, no idea how it's going. Did the stupid thing of not doing a shakedown ride first. And yeah, so this will be fun.
Alright guys, so pretty much half the clips are going to be me actually like vlogging, talking to the camera, but the other half of the clips are going to be just from the GoPro that I've just turned on and off just spontaneously across the ride there, getting these clips of what the tracks look like and what the roads and the gravel sections look like. So I thought I'd just talk over them, give me a chance to sort of explain what I'm doing. Like I said, I cut off that first bit of the course here, so I've sort of started where the route meets Kaipo Forest. I parked on the edge of the Kaipo Forest, jumped in and sort of ridden this first section through here. Amazing, like this is just iconic SA forestry, gravelly sort of mountain biking sections here. It's just awesome pine forests here, so big, huge trees, big roads to ride between here. It's just awesome, smooth terrain, which is a really cool way to start off the ride, at least for myself today.
Oh, shit. Well. Yep. That's a creek crossing. Well, I didn't know it was a creek crossing, it's just water. I reckon I can go across Barron back that way. Don't worry, when summertime rolls around, that's going to be bone dry. Absolutely bone dry. I like to jump through there as well. Let's have fun.
All right, ended up backtracking a little bit, then cutting across a course to be able to sort of skip that flooded section of the track. And then from there, pretty much exited the Kaipo forest on this gravel road, which is sort of like a road that leads you in and out of Kaipo. And yeah, just sort of first section of sort of real smooth, hard-packed gravel roads to start off this ride.
All right, so this is officially where the lead-in section, got a spider web on me. This is where the lead-in section splits and we head out for the big loop around. So we're heading that way and we go all the way around for, you know, good bit of almost 100 Ks. And then we come back here and then we head back that way, the way we just came. So this is Stagecoach Lane, and this one going that way, that is Wicks Road. Yeah, so you can see on the Garmin here, so we've just done the light blue, about to head out and do all that, and then we'll come back and make our way back to the car. You.
So we've officially started the loop that goes out. I reckon it's going to be about 90 to about 100 Ks in total with that loop. A little bit of road here, but then we quickly turn off straight back onto a gravel road. Love that yellow sign. Less speed, less dust. It's like, yep, sure, no worries. A typical sort of country gravel road sign here. Right back onto it again here. So a lot of this ride is going to be these hard-packed gravel roads, which sort of act as either access roads for the local residents, or obviously fire track roads. Then we sort of deviates, or sort of change to a bit more of a technical, I guess you could call it a full drive track, or like a you know, an access road only sort of thing, which kind of takes us back down towards this gate here. Now, I'm pretty sure that was actually part of the Kidman Trail, and then we're about to meet up with the Heisen Trail. So we're going back into the forest again here. So quickly made that jump over the fence, over that little you know, access gate there. Had these two riders of the two people riding horses here. Thankfully, they were pretty chilled out with me creeping up on them. They did politely remind me to, you know, shout out if you're a cyclist, because obviously horses can freak out. And then they also asked me to make sure I scared away any of the kangaroos and snakes, which was actually a real fear of mine. The snake thing, I was really concerned and sort of not freaking out, but I was definitely keeping an eye on every single wiggling stick, or every single stick that was on the roads, thinking, is that a moving stick or is it a stationary stick? Is it actually going to be a snake or not? So these gravel roads then actually ended up coming onto another section of road, tarmac, and then I found this guy riding in front of me, caught up to him. His name's Kevin, and he actually wasn't riding his Curve Kevin gravel bike, he was riding his mountain bike, but he actually lives up in this area, and he was just taking a quick little lunch break ride. Obviously he must work from home a couple of days a week, but I was talking to him, and he actually registered for the wait list for this ride literally the night before this me meeting him. So we're just chatting about the ride, and I was telling him where I was going. He's like, oh, no way, this is my drive, like this is my road that I live on, like we're about to ride past my house. So we're joking about how we should definitely hit up Valtteri and say, hey man, set something up out front, because it's going to be an awesome place to have it.
Alright, first climb of the day, apparently. Well, first climb of what I've ridden so far of the day, going off of my Garmin. Apparently this is climb 2 of 4. I do have it set to only record large climbs in the Garmin, you know, Climb Pro feature, but nothing too crazy. 180 meters elevation, or ascending I should say, over I think it was 4.8 Ks. Yeah, just wicked gravel roads. So far, absolutely loving this. Alright, little update, changed my mind. Not just a little climb. Gotta love that colour coming through on the Garmin. Like, ah, shit. There it is. Up there. Oh well, here we go. Alright, that hill sucked. There we go, it's better. Best thing is that when you get to the top of a hill, boys, the view. I don't know if you can see it out through there. And of course that side as well, but just hidden at the moment. So many of these gravel roads are just either access roads or essentially driveways for the locals around here. So super quiet, it's perfect. I think I've had four cars pass me in the opposite direction. That's it. It's amazing.
So going off from my Garmin route, there's only 4 major climbs on this whole ride. And because I actually started the ride further into the course than obviously the official start of it, I only had 3 climbs. So that climb I just did was climb number 2 of 4 apparently. My Garmin's only set up to record or show the largest climbs. So then back onto the gravel roads, then we hit this more of an access road which had a sign at the start that said, authorized vehicles only. I don't know if that was meaning like it's not actually a publicly accessible road or not, but anyway, jumped onto that. And it was actually pretty good. It was a bit of a descent down, really cool sort of scenery to be riding through as well. Like, pretty sort of rutted out roads there, but also quite smooth at the same time. Couple little puddles in there, even though beautiful sunny day, it has been raining recently on and off with the weather, so a little bit of puddles there. Missed all of them thankfully, and this took me all the way through till the end of the road, which brought me back out onto the tarmac. So once we got to the end, nice descent down, rolling through here, and then we came back out onto a tarmac road, and then just made our way back up for a very short little small climb, nothing too serious, but back onto it.
Back on the gravel. Of course I picked the warmest day to do this, eh? I mean, it's nothing to what January's going to be, but still.
Back onto the road now. It was actually really cool. I was actually quite impressed with the route that most of the road sections were kind of timed perfectly. Like, you either had this decent gravel section before or a bit of one of the climbs beforehand, and then after that you kind of turned out into a road, and it was just the right time and just the right length that you could sort of just roll, get some speed, relax, shake the legs out, enjoy that smooth tarmac section after being sort of shaken about in the gravel roads for a bit. That being said though, to be honest, like all the gravel roads, none of them really have that kind of that washboard where you're literally just chattering along trying to like hold on for dear life. Like, they're actually very smooth gravel roads. Here we go, right back onto a gravel road again. A little bit of a climb up here, of course, not actually regarded as a climb on my Garmin, like I said, through the climbs here, but making our way back up here. We're out in sort of like the Mount Magnificent sort of area here, so nearby, near Mount Compass. I mean, these places might mean absolutely nothing to you, they might mean everything, but this is probably the best section. So this is kind of along the, I guess, the back straight of the loop now. Pretty much this sort of whole road, it almost felt like it's just a giant, long, extended road that just took me from, just took me along this giant ridge line across just these amazing open scenes and open just like landscapes like this. It's just, this is what is just, yeah, like I was just absolutely buzzing along this road here. And just going like, yeah, this is exactly what gravel riding is all about. It's kind of like just finding these roads that necessarily don't really go anywhere. They might just link up to tarmac roads, or they are like literally just a giant access or driveway road for people that live along there, the farmers or just residents that live along there. But you've got these amazing scenes left and right of you, and you just sort of humming along these beautifully smooth roads, which is exactly what this is. This was just perfect. Not even really having to look out for any sort of potholes or any sort of, ruts in the road. It's just very, very, very smooth surface, which was awesome. Still gravel though. Like, I wouldn't say like tire wise that you're going to be wanting to go for something that's going to be a little bit smoother, or a smaller volume tire here, but definitely still like very smooth in the scheme of gravel roads here. A couple of climbs here, as you can see my handlebar bags swinging around there. I just couldn't stop like just looking around myself, and I just kept remembering, hey, don't forget, unclip the Garmin, get the Garmin out, record this stuff, because this is exactly what people want to see. This is how cool the scenery is on this ride here. This is stuff that I've seen for the first time as well. Like, don't get wrong, a lot of the roads in Adelaide have these sorts of scenes, but it is just this is iconic gravel riding as far as I'm concerned, that's for sure. Pretty just absolutely just buzzing right now.
Some really nice gravel roads, just really nice. Technically climb number 3 of the 4. Just over 2Ks, 100 meters, average gradient 5%. Doesn't sound too bad. Looks like there's some steep pitches in there though, always.
So that was definitely the nicer climb of the day, being the third climb there. No crazy pinches in there like some of the others, but still a climb nonetheless. Back on some gravel roads now. So this is at the bottom of the course here. So as far as the loop's concerned, we're right at the bottom of it. This is almost like cutting across to then make our way back up towards where the courses meet up. So we're heading out towards an area called Yundi. I remember back in the day doing Boy Scouts, we'd head out to Yundi because there was a property out there that we'd have a lot of our regular sort of camps and shit on out there. So it was actually pretty funny seeing the signs pointing out to those roads there. I remember them back from literally years and years ago here, but just a nice, another dirt, smooth gravel road here. From that, we then came up to a tarmac road again, a little bit of tarmac. Once again, just super, super quiet roads here. And somehow this was another descent, essentially just rolling along, putting out absolutely minimal power here to sort of nice, I mean, my hands don't really look it, but smooth roads here, rolling through. That handlebar bag, you would have heard the noise before with that clip. Like I didn't want to put a frame bag on just because I hadn't put protection tape on my bike yet, so I ended up going with a handlebar bag, and it was just rattling the whole time. I really just chucked it on as a last minute thing, so yeah, I had dealt with that.
Alright, here we go, climb 4 of 4. Going off of my Garmin, only tracking the larger climbs, but 4.6Ks or 4.7 long, just under 200 ascended or climbed, average gradient 4%. Not too bad, not too bad at all. Oh, can I do this with one hand? Sketchy. And up, oh yep, up that curb. That's all right. Whew. Had a break by that. I just stopped, posted some stories on Instagram, but had a bunch of Sour Patch Kids. You know, I've been drinking carbs, eating carbs, bars, gels, chews, mostly the Vela Forte stuff. Feeling alright. Wouldn't mind like a Coke or something a bit sugary, maybe some caffeine, but besides that, just sort of plodding along, not trying to do this at any particular pace, literally just going out for a ride. Yeah, alright. Last hill. Ooh, bit of red coming up on that Garmin there. Let's do it.
Alright, so pretty safe to say I felt that last climb 4 of 4, definitely had some really steep pinches in it that definitely took whatever was left in my legs out, that's for sure. So that's going to be a bit spicy towards the end of this big ride here. But the best thing is once you get to the top, again, you just get these amazing views. You're on top of the hills, you're on top, like riding along this awesome ridge line here, and just enjoying the scenery. Of course, the trees in the way, but you get the idea. You can just sort of know there's just these massively grassy fields around. Then we had this nice big descent. The course had a lot of descending in the second half, which was pretty nice. Like you kept sort of looking at the Garmin and you could see the elevation, the projected future elevation, and just sort of looking at the gradient just sort of going down, you're like, oh cool, like surely like can't just all go down, right? Sure, there's going to be a climb, but no, just somehow felt like there was a decent amount of descending. So just down these awesome sort of, you know, gravel roads here, coming down left hand corner here, if I remember. And this is where I was kind of like starting to get a bit hopeful. I was like, hang on a second, this starts to, you know, we're starting to look like we're getting back towards the Kaipo area again. Maybe we're getting close to it. Probably about like 80 Ks into the ride now, given where we are, 80 plus Ks by now. It's a bit hard to sort of track where exactly I was with all these different clips and different points, but yeah, here we go. Definitely know, like I'm starting to feel much more hopeful that we're getting back towards the end of the loop now. Starting to see the big trees here, obviously the fresh newer trees on the left hand side, and obviously the older ones on the right hand side here. Tire wise, I was running my 42mm Pathfinders here. I just like, it's such a fast rolling tire. I love it. And then yeah, we finally come back to the actual forest. Now the maps, or the route said on my Garmin is like, you could see it said like to cross back into the actual forest section, because I was just on the access road on that right hand side there. You can see I was just on that. So jumped over, just saw, yep, it looked like this line literally said zigzag your way right through here, and I was going to ride up on that right hand side now on screen. So yeah, awkwardly jumped over the fence. I'm not a very it wasn't too bad actually. Yeah, grabbed that, but I should have just stayed on the fire road, because it was actually so much smoother on the fire road than in here, because obviously once again being obviously chopped up by the trucks coming through there and stuff. So I actually ended up jumping back onto the fire road about 100 meters down the road, because it was just so rough in this section right now. So yeah, made that mistake.
All right, now we're back on familiar grounds. I've never ridden through Kaipo. Yeah, I never have actually, but I've hiked through Kaipo many times, and I know this bit, very iconic section here. Now I just want to make sure, where am I going here? Yep, yeah, I'm going straight down this road.
Alright, so we're well and truly back into Kaipo Forest now. Like I said, I've hiked through here heaps and heaps of times, so I kind of know where we are now. This is a very, you know, pretty much any hike I would do would always use this particular section of the track. Actually, more times than less I would head left here, but this is actually my first time heading right. So coming around through here, obviously you can see the logged sections of the, you know, forest on the left hand side there, and obviously the current vegetation on the right there. But then before you know it, you're right back into it, like back into where we kind of started, hammering down these trails here. This is still obviously part of the loops. This is still the first time I've been riding this sort of stuff, which is awesome. Yeah, just I'm really impressed with the route, to be honest. Like I haven't done that many gravel rides or that many gravel events or that much graveling up in this sort of particular area of South Australia and Adelaide. But yeah, like this has been one of my favorite rides I've been on in a long time. Some of these sections still a little bit kind of like overgrown and grassy, which is awesome. Obviously, you know, still early sort of springtime here, so everything's still nice and green. Hopefully it stays this green when it rolls around to summertime for the event, but everything was just looking awesome. Yeah, even still it looks amazing. It's kind of still just looking at the side of the roads every single time to see any kind of, you know, snakes, wildlife, anything that might, you know, freak me out. Thankfully nothing did. Came to this wicked little section of single track. It looks like I'm going incredibly slow here. Did not feel this slow when I was riding through it here, but I was just enjoying it. Just literally came out of nowhere. I didn't even realize I was riding it quick enough to be able to hit record on the camera. So just sort of these little deviations through Kaipo Forest, just sort of linking up these access roads in between here. And yeah, just sort of humming along. Once again, like none of these like roads really feel like you're slogging up a huge hill or a climb that never ends. You almost just feels like you're riding just these undulating up and down, which sort of help you maintain your speed through this whole section, which is really cool. Actually, it made the ride really enjoyable. You know, and of course doing this ride by myself, not having anyone to sort of draft behind, just yeah, it didn't really have these sections where you kind of just wanted to stop and have a breather because the hill was too long. It was just, you were kind of constantly entertained and constantly having to deal with these different terrains and different changes here. Jump back onto the road for a section. So this is probably the one section where I made a bit of a mistake myself. I think the track probably meant to be on the left-hand side, like actually over it back into the forest again. And it was just probably meant to be a road crossing, but my Garmin did say to actually ride on the road. I could see that it wasn't saying to get into that section, but this is actually a fairly, I wouldn't say a busy road, but the cars obviously come along here at some decent speed. So then I could see that the route actually went back in on itself, like it headed into the forest, and I was like, oh shit, well, I've made a mistake here. I actually should be in there. So I came up to this gate again. Sure enough, did another awkward gate crossing here. But I actually made another mistake of being too far down the road that technically we rode over a creek just before, like literally just up there where those trees are is actually a creek, and I didn't record it because I felt pretty stupid, but sure enough, rode back that way to head back into the actual route and came up to a flooded creek. So I had to very carefully negotiate my way over that. But yeah, another excellent gate crossing for me there. But sure enough, found myself back on the right trail like this. And this is cool. I was still thinking, like, what do you call this? And I kind of think this is like Aussie gravel. Like, this is just Australian native bushland. Like, this is what I guess would be unique, possibly. I actually don't even know. This could be absolute, what I'm saying is could be absolute bullshit. I don't really know. I'm just trying to waffle on here talking absolute nonsense. But yeah, like, obviously you got the pine trees on the left there, but then you got the Australian native trees on the right hand side there. So it's kind of like a bit of a mix, but like this sort of dry, grassy, dirt land trail. Like, this is another sort of fire track access road. But yeah, this is kind of what I think of as like iconic Aussie gravel in a way. Then come along here, meets back up onto one of the more popular trails here, obviously a bit more of a distinctive gravel access road through here, and just sort of coming towards the end of the loop now, starting to get pretty keen, itching for the meet-up point so I can sort of go, yep, cool, I officially did it. But absolutely loving every second of this ride. It's been an absolute wicked day out on the bike.
We are finally back on Wicks Road, which means we're about to come back up to, in 800 meters, Stagecoach Lane, which means I have completed the loop. Feeling pretty spent, not gonna lie. Solid day, solid riding. Yeah, 92 Ks by the time I reach that joining up point again, and then I'll ride back to the car, which was about 15 Ks from the actual start line, with that massive lead in from the winery. But yeah, whew, big day.
And here it is, the intersection I've been waiting for. Stagecoach Lane meets Wicks Road there. So Wicks Road was what I was on, and also what goes right there, and then Stagecoach Lane is what goes left, which is where we obviously kind of started the ride from, or where we first had that point. There's that sign again. There's so many of those signs around there. So there was obviously a little deviation out of Kaipo Forest onto those gravel roads there, but then straight away right back into Kaipo, riding through the trees on these super smooth paths here. Roads, access roads, whatever you want to call it, gravel, dirt, trails. Absolutely just hammering along here, and really buzzing now that I knew I was like back in Kaipo for like the last bit. And I was just thinking, like, it would be like, doing the whole ride, kind of hitting this section, you know that you've ridden it before, and then you know exactly how much you have to go left of the event, of the ride. So you really start to sort of hype yourself up a little bit and start pushing a little bit harder, going like, yeah, cool, okay, I remember I've got to do that descent, but that descent's now going to be a climb, but then that climb's now going to be a descent because it's all backwards, and you kind of go, oh yeah, cool, this is going to be this bit, and you sort of start to really sort of get yourself excited towards the end of the race and start sort of thinking how hard you want to push. And you know, if you were in some sort of competitive position, that's when I guess the tactics would really come out. I was thinking it'd be cool that if obviously having the lead in from the winery to the Kaipo Forest and to the loop, that's cool to sort of start the race off. But, and I mean, this is a really hard logistic thing, but it would be awesome if the race could finish in Kaipo, like finish in this sort of section and not have to do that lead in / lead out section again. Because just imagine, like, if, you know, we're talking about like actual proper competitive race here, it would be wicked to have all the last minute attacks and the tactics and stuff like that happen within this sort of forest situation where, you know, you could, you know, get out of sight and out of mind. Like someone attacks, gets around a corner, absolutely hammers it, and you know, you have these massive straights where you could see someone down the road but you're still on the gravel and stuff like that. And yeah, that was just my sort of thought. Yeah, so once we got through Kaipo, came back to that last little section, and honestly I was feeling pretty wrecked. I didn't feel like tackling the very first section of the ride, which I didn't film, which was kind of like just, it was right near where a bunch of construction workers or workers were doing some tree logging there, so the dirt was completely ripped up. It was really sandy, and I just didn't feel like negotiating that as the last bit of the ride. So jumped back on the road to roll back to the car, and well, yeah, that kind of wraps it up, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this whole sort of voiceover part.
And that's it. I'm done. Spent 100 Ks on the dot. May have done 2 laps of this car park to get to exactly 100 on the dot, but you get the idea. So it's pretty much 15 Ks from here to the start, and then of course then 15 Ks, well, to the finish. Vice versa, it's the same thing. This is the same lead in, lead out. Decided to skip the first and last bit for me, that really sandy sort of stuff where they've been doing the obviously the chopping of the trees down and stuff. I think that's been all turned up there and really sandy. Just didn't really feel like doing it on the way back. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this little, like, you know, potential recon. Like I said, this could be a completely different course when the actual event comes around, but I thought, why not? New bike, day off, good weather, literally amazing weather. Get out there. Like, comment below if you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Consider this my comeback to YouTube, my inevitable, always inevitable comeback to YouTube again. Thanks.